Hi, good morning. Welcome to Natasha Makes. I'm Natasha. We're making stuff. That's how this goes. Yes, it is. So yes, I'm giggling to myself because yesterday was really weird in terms of many phone calls before we came to air, and so I just need to tell you a little bit about that really. As we came to air, so my phone kept going, and it was actually the printer repairman. He got a bit narky about being sent away, so which might result in a slight delay in some orders because I can't print anything off right now, which means the orders, the labels or anything like that. So hopefully we'll get that resolved today. So if I have to grab my phone, you know why. And then secondly, also poor Ben from Lewis and Irene, he rang yesterday, rang a couple of times going, oh, I'm running early, can I come early? Like, yes, Ben, we're doing a show. Oh yeah, no, I forgot, sorry. Anyway, he came, and the upshot of that was I managed to get my hands on some really beautiful Lewis and Irene charm packs for you. Because he said, I said, oh, did you bring any pre-cuts? Because we were ordering for all next year's fabrics. So, normally, when we're at the shows and we do the ordering, there are pre-cuts and stuff. And he's like, well, funny you should say that. I've got some in the van. I was like, great. In his van I went. And yeah, rummaged. I'm not going to be proud about that. I had a good rifle through. I'd like to say Jane was in on it too. I'm not going to take full responsibility for this. Jane was there too. I'm like, Jane, what do you think of this? Love it. Great. So we managed to find for you some gorgeous charm packs. So 42 5-inch squares. And what we thought we would do for you is pair them with a 1/2 meter of fabric. So you basically have a quilt ready-made, well, not ready-made, you've got to make it obviously, but a quilt there with either part of your backing or your binding, or if you want to make it a bit bigger, then you've got complementary fabric that's going to work as your plain to make it bigger. You've got options, or if you're doing a bag with it, then you've got the lining, you've got options, which is super exciting. And they are all on the website. Oh, Susan's having to watch on a phone in the office. Margaret's watching. Lynn's watching. Hello. Good morning from Handmade by Nanas in Illigan. Hello. I don't think I've just pronounced that right at all. I really don't think so. Michelle's there. Julie's there. Hello. And Caroline watching whilst decorating this morning. That's very industrious. What are you decorating? Basil and Bianca. Oh, it sounds like a comedy duo, doesn't it? They're not together, their names just happen to be together. Well, I don't know, I mean, yeah, who knows? Pamela and Denny, hello, and Angela and Ella, good morning, and Linda as well, and Claire, who's just had a shower. Good, and has a cup of tea at the ready. Did you get wet on the school run? Is it raining where you are? And then Becky says, good morning from a lovely sunny Cotswolds. Can't wait to see all the new loveliness you sorted yesterday. Ben did say to me, he says, you're going to have all of this sold before I've even invoiced you. Like, potentially. Laurie is a table full of lovely goodies. The one thing that I am super aware of at the moment is that it's really hard not being able to feel the fabrics. So a safe bet is Lewis and Irene, because if you've bought it before, you know it's great fabric and it's lovely quality and the prints are beautiful and they're just really gorgeous. So you know you're in safe hands there. But finding a colour that goes, you can't do that on a screen. It's really hard. So that's what we've endeavoured to do for you, hence doing it this. So you will get a 1/2 metre for free on us. You just pay for the charm pack, we'll give you the 1/2 metre. There were some of you that were feeling down yesterday, and I don't like that, so let's cheer everybody up. And if you want to take advantage of it, then go for it. It's www.natashamakes.com. Down there. Just down there. There you go. Hello to Leslie, Arfon, hello, and Lynn and Sue and Helen. Steve's off boating again. He is a busy man, isn't he? Oh, is he still pulling all the boats out? Strong arms. Must be all that bagpipe playing. And Sally, hello, and Jill and Karen and Ali, good morning to you. And Natalie as well, hello, good morning. And Heather, good morning. And Dolly and Pauline, hello. And Christine Fitzsimmons and Pam and Diane. Gosh, you are all fabulous joining us this morning. Thank you so much. It's actually very humbling, you know. It's lovely. Thank you so much. Right, the other thing that I have for you, I'm mid-cut, by the way. I'll explain why in a minute. But I wanted to show you a new ruler from Creative Grids today as well, because we're going to have a look at putting together a block keeper. And those of you that are doing the block of the month, this is perfect for you. Or if you are someone that has, you know, the odd UFO, unfinished object, then somewhere safe to store them rather than, you know, on the floor. You can't see down here. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah. So everyone says when they come and they're like, oh gosh, it looks really tidy on TV. I'm like, yeah. Yeah. If I could, I'd probably wear my pajama bottoms, but I'm a bit too tall for that. But yeah. Right, let's move all these out the way. Oh, Mr. Albert, I think you've got a new home. So, should we have a look at the Lewis and Irene? Let's start at that point. When they're gone, they're gone. Like I say, I got everything out of Ben's van. Like, yep, they can come with us. So, I've got varying quantities. Emma's loaded everything. So when they're gone, they're gone. Let's have a little switcheroony to here. And so this is your sky, which is rather beautiful. There's your sky. And then this is your island girl. And so we pulled the blue, and because you've got so many gorgeous colours going on in there, I'm never sure if it's okay to sort of, but you've got your soft pinks in there, your greens with your turtles on, and yeah, all sorts of beautiful flowers. But yeah, look how beautifully all of this works. So if you fancy that, and we're trying to find some better photos for you so I don't have to crack all these open. I mean, that's just beautiful, isn't it? So if you fancy that little spot of tropical in your home, or maybe you've got a grandchild that likes Moana. That's the other thing, isn't it? Otherwise, it just looks like a lovely sunny holiday. Fab. It's about bringing those nice times home, isn't it? So I've got some of those. They are there for you. Now, these are really, really handy. And I'm just put these with a white. We had a big conversation about what to put this with. And in the end, we just went with white because, yeah, it just... there's so much going on in there. Fabulous, fabulous geometric prints in there, which are really wonderful. And again, you might use a bit of it, but it's in a rainbow. I mean, when you look at it on the side there, it is a complete rainbow. So you can use your whites and your blacks and all those different colours in there. They're a bit good, aren't they? We've got lots to get through, so I'm gonna whiz through these as, you know, sort of quick as I can. Now this is your turquoise salt batik going with your Maya. So if you fancy again that jungly theme, that exotic theme, then this is the one. Really, really gorgeous fabrics in here, and we've tried to match it so that, look at this. We thought this kind of ocean blue would work really beautifully with it. Not to match it exactly, but you can see there, it really complements it. Even down to pulling out those colours there, because there are so many colours going on in here. It's really beautiful. It needed a colour that was going to go all that way. There's your monkey. Hey there, Mr. Monkey. So really beautiful. You've got some parrots under there, and we're all good to go. But I've got 3 of those. I mean, that's what I mean. I've got real varying quantities of that. I've got 3 of those. When they're gone, they're gone. Now, what about Mr. Scarecrow? I mean, this is that time of year. couple more of those, but oh no, that's Catch a Dream. Where's my Scarecrow? Oh, here he is. Scarecrow Acres. Da, 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 da. Look at a pumpkin with a mouse coming out of it. I mean, that's it, I'm sold. But if you love your autumnal tones, then this could well be the one for you. And so when you see these ones, these are what they call the bumbleberries, which are, they're sort of mixers. They're really beautiful quality fabrics, but they're the blenders. They've got all sorts of different colorways going through there. So they're really gorgeous to have. And actually they echo the pumpkins. Look at those. Really beautifully. Why not make one of my pumpkins as a patchwork? There's your maze. So that's all rather fab in there. So lots of people love different times of year, don't they? And I know that lots of people do love a bit of autumn. Now, how about that inner cowgirl with To Catch a Dream? So you've got all sorts of cacti and feathers and real sort of Native American Indian going on. And it's all in there with your geometrics and all sorts of things. It's a really lovely one. Look at that. Quite masculine in tone if you need it to be, if you want it to be. If you're making some Christmas makes and you want to make something, I don't know. Look at that. There's your cacti. Or maybe it's reminiscent of a holiday that you took somewhere. I don't know. Who knows? But certainly you can patchwork things. Hang on. If I shimmy this up, we've got wolves and all sorts. So we've got that, but I think that would make fabulous little quilt, maybe for a boy's bedroom or something like that. And keeping along that kind of theme, let's have a look at the Viking adventure. If we're going across the seas anywhere, let's have a look. So we've got Viking adventures here. It's really hard to see. I have asked Emma if she's got a minute, if she could just see if she can find some better images, but I just don't want to rummage through all of these. But you've got in here lots of Vikings, which is fab. And just look, they're quirky and fun. And villages and arrows and all sorts of things that. So Lewis and Irene, I don't know if you know, maybe you've got some ancestry and you want to celebrate a bit of that. Lewis and Irene, Lewis and Irene were the grandparents, and it was set up by their children, and now the grandchildren, Hannah and Ben, are running it. And Hannah has a son a couple of years older than Freddie, and so she always brings out, and not all companies do, sort of good things that are going to be suitable for boys. If you're trying to make patchworks for boys, sometimes it can be really hard because everything feels a bit pink, but she always does ones like that. So, you know, with the longboats and everything with the Vikings, it's absolutely perfect. But then this, you see, Emily loves pandas, so this would be a fabulous one for Ems. You've got your pandas in here, and some really beautiful prints in here. There we go, there's your panda. And all those colours as well. So we wanted to bring this in with the Baltic kind of jadey colour. It's really beautiful. Again, I'm quite limited on this, so if you fancy it. I managed to get hold of these before and they just flew, and I really kicked myself because I meant to keep one, but the stock take was slightly out, and I ended up giving my last one that I'd saved for myself away, so I'm going to make sure I keep one this time. Now, how about something a little bit rustic? This is your farmer's market here. Only got 6 of these, so if you fancy something. Actually, do you know what? If you're making your jellies and things and your preserves, that's what they are, then actually these would work really nicely with an elastic band over the top of your jam jars. Maybe you're going to make up hampers for selling, who knows. But that is your farmer's market, and we've done that with this gorgeous khaki solid there, which I think is absolutely fab and perfect for it. Then we've got, this is your harbour side. I have only got 3 of these, and I love this. This reminds me, everybody that's living in Cornwall, and possibly Pitt and Weem as well, Ginny. You never know. And maybe Steve off pulling out the boats out the water. Maybe this sneaky lobster there. You've got your knots. You've got all sorts going. Oh, this is the one. I've got this fabric with the lobsters on, this one, to do some stuff in my... I didn't realise this was from Harbourside, to make something for our bathroom. I love this collection. Really, really beautiful. So you've got all sorts of colourways in there. Like I say, we'll try and get you some better photos on the website. It just will take a little bit of time. Like I said, these only came yesterday. They are already loaded. I don't want to rip into every single packet because otherwise, you know, there'll be someone a bit sad if they get a ripped packet. So Winter Garden, again, only 6 of these, but what beautiful colours. If purples and greens are your thing, then this is the one for you. Very much so, with the beautiful purple salt batik as well. Look at these beautiful colours. And I have to say, I'm very excited for the Lewis and Irene that's coming next year. It is a bit gorgeous. It really is. There we go. So if you fancy some of that, then gorgeous. The nice thing about getting a charm pack is that you know that all the colours work and you know that everything is there. How about a picnic in the park? And again, maybe I've only got 6 of these as well. Maybe this is something that is going to cheer you up. Maybe you're making, maybe you're doing lots of picnics and things as soon as the weather allows. I do lots of picnics actually in the sitting room for the kids because it's just something a little bit different to do. If we can't go here, there and everywhere, then you've got bikes in there, you've got ice creams, you've got all sorts of lovely things. So if you're making, you know, little play rugs or anything like that, then this is perfect. Or maybe you've got someone who's got a birthday and you want to do them a nice lunch, a nice birthday tea or something like that, then this would make an amazing table runner as well. And I've paired that with a beautiful blush. Isn't that gorgeous? We did have fun. This was one of my favourite things to do, is to go through and find the fabrics that go with it. Now this one... This one's a little bit naughty. I know I've only got 2 of these because I've gone full on batik with this. Look at that beautiful batik. Because a plain yellow was too heavy. Because it's got quite a delicate yellow tone to it. And bunnies! Where did the bunnies go? There! Hello, bunny! So it was too heavy. So I did crack out quite an expensive batik. But we'll gloss over that. You've got... Are they violets or pansies? I never know. I'm sure that there will be gardeners amongst us going, it's this, it's that. So, but with the batik, you've got all of the different yellows there that are within this, because this has got quite a few different yellows in it as well. And I just thought it went beautifully with the daffodils. But like I say, only 2 of those. And then we've got... Am I going a bit slow? Are we all okay having a look at these? Again, I've got 3 of these. These with your chocolate salt batik are your charming squares. So this is your country creatures. This is the small things. Every year, Lewis and Irene bring out some beautiful, beautiful little animals. And you've got hedgehogs in here. You've got mice. You've got foxes. You've got all sorts of things going on in here. You've got deer and, of course, the otters. They win it for me every time. Aren't they gorgeous? But like I say, only 3. And then the cocktail party. Woohoo! They will happen again. Parties will happen again. But in the meantime, why not get yourself party ready? And actually... It's just lots of lovely fruit and drinks and cocktails and things in there. So just, it's a really happy one. This actually might look quite nice with the picnic in the park. I think they would blend very nicely together. And this one we've put with a coral. Beautiful, beautiful. Now, I suddenly realised actually might have used the horsey one. What's it called? Farley's Mount in my prep, so I can show you some of these. just to give you an idea. Now remember, when you get these, the 5-inch finishes at the smallest measurement, so that the lowest part of your pinking. So if you've got someone that's a bit horse mad, I can't imagine why I might have used it. Then, and you'll be able to see, look at that, which is very appropriate given that Ben of Lewis and Irene used to be a farrier. So if you've got someone that's pony mad in your life, then this is the perfect one for you. And just all these different colourways in beautiful earthy tones. Fab, aren't they? All your rosettes. Oh, and I love this. Look at this. It's almost like a camouflage, but in horses. Just fab. Ali, you can't find some of these on the web? Help. If you put in Lewis and Irene charm, they should come up. If they're not showing, maybe they've sold out. It depends. Or maybe Emma's still loading them. Which one can't you find? Let me know. And I'll just double check that Emma's loaded them all. Because like I say, it was a bit of a rush this morning getting everything loaded. But what about the old chocolate shop? And we've put this with a gorgeous orange. You can see the orange there, can't you? This has got some, it's got little gingerbread men. Beautiful. Has everybody seen that film Chocolat? Do you remember that was really quite the rage, wasn't it? Probably about like back in the 90s. A few are already sold out, are they, Jenny? Thank you. I don't know if anyone can give me a little stock update there. It's really hard for me to see from here. Oh, I love this. Hans House. Hans House with the royal blue. How gorgeous is that? Oh, beautiful. Very beautiful. Yeah. The horse one and the country creatures. If you look Farley's Mount, I had quite a few of those, so I hope they haven't sold out for the Farley's Mount. Did I? Oh, Laurie's got the old chocolate shop. It's beautiful, isn't it, Laurie? But then I'm very much in love with this one right now. And I did. We kind of couldn't decide between a blue and a green. Really beautiful. I'm now worried that I didn't load Farley's Mount, that I just stole it for my my sample. Did I give you Farley's Mount? I don't know. Oh. Now this is gorgeous. We had the Thalassophile, didn't we? And it sold so well. You've got your beautiful plaids in there as well. And you've got all your different sea creatures. Freddie loved this one. Absolutely loved this one. And we've done it with a gorgeous scarlet solid. Yeah. Beautiful to go with all those seahorses. And then this is called Littondale. And this, we really decided, we first looked at a green that was spot on with it. And then we sort of went, actually, we want a green that's going to blend with all of them and be complementary, but not exactly the same. And that's what we've got. And I'm really pleased with our choice. But if you love your greens, this is a really beautiful one. Oh, Laurie said the horse one was there when she looked. So, Ali, just put in Lewis and Irene and charms and everything should come up. There we go. And yes, Ruth, Tilda do have a great pattern for a dash hound. It's free to download on Tilda's World. No, it's not sold out. There you go. Farley's Mount is still available. There you go, Ali. It's still there. Ems has just said. There we are. Now this is threaded with love and I love it. I love this misty blue. I just think that's such a beautiful soft colour. And if I throw this up there, I forgot, is that 6 or 9 of these? Don't know, depends which way I look at it. Oh, now if you're making, and you're making with love, this is a beautiful one. You've got cats in here with balls of yarn. Yes, you have. Oh, yes. And yeah, basically it's just about making with love, isn't it? With all your pins. So when you make something for someone, it is stitched with love. So that's what we've got for you today. It was too good to resist. So I hope you've managed to find the ones that you want and have a good old dig around and a rummage around. I'm going to put these down here, hopefully in their colour pairs. Bear with me. We will get those packaged up and sent out ASAP. But please do bear in mind that with patterns and stuff, obviously with the printer being a little bit naughty until that guy comes out to repair it, there might be a slight delay on some of the patterns. So if you're desperate for a pattern, go for the digital download is what I would say. Isn't it funny how things work out, that everything waits until it only goes on the blink once we've got digital downloads available. Love it. Now, let's also have a look if you love colour. And I might have pinched one of these. Emma, you might have to just take the quantity of the zips down by 1. Sorry. I got a bit involved. Actually, the most fun I had was photographing them, because there is a beautiful rainbow of zips here. Now these are, I want to say they are 12 inch but 14 inch long. No, they're 13 inches long, but 12 inch of actual zip. There we go. And there are 20 here, so a full rainbow of colour. Every colour is different, but you're going to have the right colour for the job. And that's one of these zips is what I've used in the project that I'm going to show you today. Hurrah! We'll get there. We're getting there, right? But how handy to have my little pouch there. Right, let's pop that there. Let's see if there are any questions. Catherine, you can't find the digital pattern for the drawstring storage bag that I made yesterday because it's not on the website yet, because I forgot to tell Josh that it needed to have a 7.5 inch template to go with it. So until that's done, it won't go up. Basically, the digital always takes a little bit longer to load. It will go up, and just keep an eye on there. But yesterday got a little bit busy with trying to get the printer repairman back and stuff like that. So apologies for that. It did mean to go. It was meant to go up last night. It just needs to be reproofread and have that added onto it, and then it'll be up by this afternoon. Because I will proofread it as soon as we are off air. And that's the same with any of the other patterns. If you wanted from yesterday, they're just being proofread and then they'll be up. We try and get it proofread as it's really easy. So I can't proofread them. That's the other thing. Because if I've written them, I always read what I think I wrote. So there's no point in me proofreading it. So it needs to go to other people to be proofread. There we go. Natalie is still trying to be good and having to sit on your hands to stop from buying pretty things. Look, I completely get that, and all I can do is just try and give you options that are not going to break the bank, hence giving you the 1/2 metre of fabric for free to go with it, because then you've got something really usable and you're not trying to scratch about trying to find a fabric that, you know, meh, almost goes. You've got one that goes beautifully with it. So that's what we're offering. And if it suits you today, you go for it. If it's not the right day for you, don't worry. You're here, you're with us. It's all good. There are so many ways in which you can support us. Just being here and being part of this is one of them. Please don't feel like you always have to buy. It's lovely that you do, and it means that we keep going and all that. But everybody's in different situations right now, and you know, maybe you support us by sharing the show or something like that. There are lots of different ways, and actually just being here is enough. So never worry about that, because it'd be pointless me being here and nobody else. That would be lonely. Right. I am just going to finish off cutting very, very quickly my 2.5 inch square cause I want to introduce you to a new creative grid. I don't know if I touched upon it here. Can't remember. I really can't remember. But But here's the thing. Maybe I should explain today's show for you. It came to me the other day when Jane was doing the block of the month that actually a block keeper would be really useful. And what do I mean by a block keeper? So a block keeper is like you would have a folder to keep your artwork or anything like that. A block keeper is where you keep your blocks. I'm probably teaching grandma to suck eggs here. And actually, what works really well is just using wadding. So there's Jane's block that we did last week, and that sits really beautifully on the wadding. So what I have created, and this is in various stages of what have you. So this is actually from Farley's Mount, is a block keeper, and I need to finish it off with some of these. It's all part of the demo. And it's got a 15-inch front and a 15-inch back. So with the instructions, what you will get, it opens, I mean, if you want to fully open it out, then basically what I've put in is a table so that you can showcase a block on the front and on the back should you wish. So it might be that actually you've practiced one of these and you're really proud of it, or you've done it in another colorway or whatever, and that's going to be the block that's on the front of your block keeper. You know, that's great. So what I've done, rather than stand here and demo how to make blocks, are entirely up to you. What I've done is said if you have a finished 8-inch square, then you'll need to sash at this width. And so this was a 14.5-inch, so I just needed to put a little bit on to bring it up to 15 inches. And then in here we've got clear plastic if you want to. This is, again, this is an optional extra. This is where the zip went to. So if you want to keep all of your instructions, and there's Jane's making the binding instructions that are online if you want to make yourself some binding, and that's in there. And so then it's up to you how many pages you put in. So what I've put on the website is a crib size packet of wadding, which will give you plenty because you'll cut it, there we go, so that they will sit in there. And you just layer them up however many you want. And I mean, that one's slightly longer, so I would probably put that one on the bottom, or actually trim it to the same size as everything else. Just trim that back a little bit. But it's just a super easy way to keep everything in one place. And then you'll notice you've got, and this is, I wanted to explain it like this. So you've got block for the front, block for the back, and then you've got the spine here. So when these are folded, and these will be stitched onto the spine, which is why this is slightly wider. And again, all the measurements will be in your instructions. So that will go in there, however many layers you want. And then we'll mark down there, and just 2 lines of stitches will then create your block keeper. And if you wanted to add in a ribbon or something, stitch a ribbon on there so that you can close it and tie it, then you can. But then you see what you'll do is this will all be stitched down. You've got your instructions or maybe some of your leftover fabric there, and then they stay on there, and then you open up and you keep your blocks in there, but that will all be stitched down. Okay, as per your instructions. So that's where we're at with that. But I wanted to show you a new block, which is super, super beautiful. That is basically, it's basically a quilt. So if you're making a block maker, then I'm assuming that you've got kind of that that basic level of quilting in there. And if you're not sure on the binding, like I say, it's got the basic instructions on binding, but if you want the in-depth, then Jane goes into that in her binding, making the binding. But I wanted to show you one of my new favorite rulers, which is this one. This is your square on square 8-inch trim tool, okay? Because I sort of fell in love with this. And it does all these, it does all sorts of different things. But this grabbed me and I was like, oh yeah. So I want to demo that. This, there you go, is how it looks. But then of course you'll add your sashing on, which means it then turns into something else completely. So let's have a look. Because this is Creative Grids, of course, you've got really in-depth instructions. So when you get yours home, never ever throw that away. That is your holy grail completely. And on here, it gives you a lot of the instructions. So let me show you that on here. So it gives you all of your cutting instructions here. So cut 1 2.5-inch center square. Fine, okay. And then cut 2 3-inch. Now cut them as squares and then make them into half square triangles. And then block A2, cut 2 3.5-inch, and again cut them in half again. So it gives you all of those. And then this is block A, that's A2, and you will square everything up and trim it back. And if you want to start off with, you trim your 2.5 pieced squares there. So we're going to start at this point here. This is our starting point today. So I've gone ahead and done just a bit of cutting with my Stripology. I started off with the larger size. I cut 1 strip width of fabric, 5.5 inches, and then cut back from there. And that's all that has used. And so I've got to check I use the right ones. The reason they're all over here on my pressing mat is because I know that for some of these I'm going to have to cut back and cut on that diagonal. So the very first thing I've done is best press spray it, which is where your misting bottles come into their own. I don't actually know how many of those we've got left in stock, but let me double check the size of this. That's my 2.5 inches. Right. Okay, so let's start 1/4 inch. And you get to trim it back, so all is well with the world. And but it is such a beautiful block. And actually what I will do is get a little piece of fabric just to act as a leader, donkey, whatever you want to call it. And off we go. And you can, of course, chain piece these. I realised I've been a bit naughty actually, because this fabric isn't actually up for sale yet. You've got a little sneaky peek for something that's coming in this week's Half Meter Heavens. But I thought about putting fabric bundles together for this, and I thought, do you know what, you might have a block that was left over, you might have Half Meter Heavens that you want to use, and it's absolutely perfect for those. So I'm just going to check which way my seam's going. So if I've done my seam that way there, then I'm going to need to have my seam going this in the opposite direction, so that they're going to nest really beautifully here. Like I say, it's been a little while since I've used this ruler, so let's hope I can remember how to use it. But it's one of those things that I never worry too much with Creative Grids, because I know that their instructions are always great. Not many companies that I would kind of go, okay, I would really thoroughly prep myself up. So have any of you got this ruler already, Geraldine? Have you got it? Because if you've got it and used it, I would love to see what you've used it for. I think corner squares on quilts looks stunning. I'm not sure if I've got that terminology right, but okay, whoops. So let's get the ruler, and it says trim your 2.5 piece squares here. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to reach, excuse me, for my trimming. I think these have been loaded now. And it's kind of, you start off with big squares and you trim them back because that's the easiest way to do it, basically. There we are. And spin it around. And off we go. So just lining up where it tells me to line everything up. This is your starting point. Getting this the right size then helps everything just flow into place. Okay. Itty bitty and cute, right? Okay. Now this is all about, and I'm going to keep the instructions out, this is all about your placement. So next I'm going to get my Emma, bless her. Emma says she's still looking for helpful charm pack images. Bless you. Thank you. Now this is where I need to really concentrate, because this is the starting one, which then takes me in whatever direction I go in. So I am going to sew this onto that line there. So basically what I'm looking at is here. Okay, so this is my square, and whichever one I pick to be the lighter pink, I need that triangle to be sewn on there, and then around we go. So that's how we're going to get the spiral. Fingers crossed it's going to work. So, but like I say, I will keep it with me at all times. So you will trim these back, and that's okay. Hope I've got the right size. Did I take the right size? Yeah. Let me just check. So, right. So let's get sewing. So you're going to sew on your opposite lines. Whoop. I'm just lining my center point up across that center there because I can. And then go across and put it on the opposite side. Down here. And sew across. There is overhang, don't panic. Now when you've got to this point, press them open. Right, creative grids know as soon as you work on a bias, then things can get distorted. So that's why they give you enough space to trim back. So it's looking like this, and then I'm going to get my two. Actually, I need that one, don't I? To start off with, and again, cutting on the diagonal. and then I place it on the sides that I haven't already placed it on, and I'm going to sew through there. So whilst it looked like I had lots left over and it was a bit strange, as soon as I place that, and I'm just being careful to make sure that my tip is on that line there. Then we are good to go. And I will pop the next one on there, like that. I think I love this block because it's one that I have always admired, looked at and gone, that's so clever. And I've heard it called lots of different things. There you go, is that a better angle? And we're just going to press back and then move on to the next round. Okay, so we're looking like this. We're going to trim it back, and this is where you want to use your ruler. So, and again, I'm just going to refer back. Always keep referring, refer back, refer back, refer back. So yeah, I want to make sure that, and let me show you this over here. Here's my starting square, so I'm going to pop that in there, and then can you see I'm now going to trim back, and then I'll spin it around, keeping that square in there, and trim everything back, and it will all look lovely and neat and tidy. And that's what creative grids do so well. I wouldn't even attempt this block without the ruler, basically. Just no way Jose. And having that starting square there allows me to always center everything beautifully. And again, having a rotating cutting mat, it's not essential, but it really helps. So when you've done one, spin it around, realign everything. And they even say in the instructions that if anything is off at all, then don't panic. All you need to do is make sure that, let me show you, that this bit here where it goes into the seam allowance, that as long as that is in the right position, then what you'll get is the right seam allowance. So just follow the instructions. They're really lovely. And so the first thing to bear in mind, we've got the first round on, and then we go on to the next round. And for the next round, I'm just going to keep going in order. So I'll go with the beautiful K-Facet Feathers by Philip Jacobs, and I'm going to stick with that. And when I've got it there, so looking at my diagram, I now want to make sure that that is going to be there. And then when I open it up, just double check yourself. When I open it up, it's going to start to come around, which is going to be gorgeous. If you want to pin it, then do. That would take me a little bit longer, and I am slightly aware of time this morning. I don't really know why. And then opposites. Always think opposites and you'll be absolutely fine. And if you want to just I'm just lining up that peak so that it's all pointing in the right direction. But as you've seen, you've got a little bit of leeway, so don't stress about it. There's enough that you cut back to really not have to worry. So again, you do your 2 and then you press everything back. I really need to get my little iron out the car. We had 2. I have one that I used to take to Hochanda, and then one that got left on and it didn't like it. I think it sort of overheated a bit, and I haven't tried it again since to get left on for a very long time. But what you'll notice, because of how we cut it, look, you've got a perfect point up to there, and you can see that already. Okay, so the next bit is going to be getting your next size in the purple. And again, having the contrast here is really lovely. I could have gone for even more of a contrast had I wanted, but I wanted, if you're going to use this for your block keeper, I wanted you to be able to use what is in your stash. You might want to have a different block on the front to the back, and be able to use up all your scraps. That is the key here, is that I didn't want you to have to delve into something brand new or pay for lots of fabrics. This can be done out of your half-meter heavens. It can be done out of your charm packs like I've done. It can be done in leftover blocks that you might have for something, or maybe you did a practice block for the block of the month and you're quite pleased with it. That's the ethos of it. And that's why I'm not saying you must do this block on the front. It's not about that. Pick the block that you want, and then depending on its size, you will have the cutting instructions as to what you would then need to do the sashing around the side. Oh, was there anything there? Oh, Catherine, yeah, I will. Oh, Leslie. Oh, you missed the cute creatures. I only had a couple. And Ali's found them in the fat quarters and eighths. But they're now sold out. No! Will you be getting any more in, Natasha? Ali, I got in everything that they had. So they tend to just bring what they have left in their warehouse, and that's it. So I got everything. Yeah, I did get everything, but I do have some jelly rolls that will be coming along, if that works for you. I've got some of those. So next square, block A2. That's the next bit to go for. So you work your way methodically through. And again, if you've sewn slightly bigger, don't worry. All you need to do is just make sure that the corner of your square fits into the corner. There we are. And you've got enough wiggle room there. It's really smart, isn't it? I never quite turn it around enough and then wonder why stuff doesn't fit. But as long as everything sits in and you've got the seam allowance where you want it to go, then we are all good. So you can see this is now starting to come together, and how that is starting to work its way around. Should we put on one more round? What do you reckon? What do you reckon? Yeah. So out of that strip, I've cut enough to do 2 blocks, front and back. So just a 5.5 inch strip will do it, which is great. And this will make an 8.5 inch block. So that will be a finished 8 inch block. So there we go. Do that one. And that one. Is it sad that I just get really chuffed when I actually manage these blocks? I saw it once as I want to call them the cornerstones. Is that right terminology? And I was so impressed. I thought, oh gosh, there are those certain blocks, aren't there, that you think if I could do that, then I've really made it. And this was one of those. I was super impressed by it. Now again, following my way around here. So I've got my square there, then my triangle, then my triangle. So I'm always making sure that this colour, that the feathers, is always on the right as I then add my next triangle on. Now if you want to, you can sew from this side, and what that means is that, and this hasn't been a problem for me, but if you want to, then you can, then because you've got that seam there and you can check. Let me show you here. If you want to sew from this side, then you can make sure that you are sewing through there, which is going to give you that perfect seam. But again, you've seen me sew from the top, and it just hasn't been a problem. So far, but here we are. I mean, never say never, right? So there goes the one. But you get the gist. And this now with this round should really start to cement it. Whee! So again, you can see we're coming around. Ah, it's exciting. I will quickly press that. Always setting the seams. Always press back, and then we'll add on that purple for there and there. There we go. Let's go straight to the sewing machine for this. And actually what you'll notice are just little checkers. So as this comes down off there, this point there is, oh, hang on, sorry, it didn't switch. And you can see as that started to stitch there, the stitching came straight in that V there. So it's these little pointers, and then that point there is on that line, on that seam line there. Everything just lines up. But again, it's not the end of the world if it doesn't, because you trim it back. But it's quite encouraging when it does all come together and you're like, oh yeah, oh, well that worked nicely. And you get a little bit of a fuzzy glow thinking, yeah, I'm doing it right. Right, let's go and press back. Here we are. So, set the seam, press back. We'll do one, we'll leave it at that round, I think. It gives you the gist. There's only one more to go, but you're getting the idea of it anyway. You then want to go, so we've done block A1 and A2, and basically you pick the block, the square, that fits onto the last full square that you sewed. That'll make sense when you see it. Okay. Here we go. Flip that around. So again, there's my square, making sure that it is all lined up beautifully, so I'm getting the correct seam allowance as I trim everything back. Hang on. And there you can just start to see how that is now coming together. There's only one more round to go, but I think we get the gist, right? And then if I wanted to use this, oh, hello. There we go, right. If I wanted to use this then for the top of my block keeper, then I would sash it to bring it up to this size here. Now then, what I wanted to just show you is how I've used this plastic, because it might be the first time that you've used plastic, and that's, again, absolutely fine. And I've used it with, hang on, what colour zip are we going to use with this one? Oh, decision. Oh, look, purple, there we go. Straight away, this is what I mean. If you've got the zips, you've got a colour for every opportunity. Sorry, didn't mean to throw you all on the floor there. Morning, Donna. Oh, she's loving the charm packs. Hi, Agnes. Hello, Jill. Hello, May. Good morning. And Diane as well. And Patricia, you've joined us too. Hello, hello, hello. And Grace and Fiona as well. Good morning. Good morning, good morning. Oh, Laurie, thank you. She's just wanted to say, I think you always look great in green. I think it is your colour. Do you know, it's one of those things. I've always gone for pinks and blues. And actually, I'm just starting to get into my greens a bit. But, yeah, I get told off by the certain colour kings if I don't wear bright colours. And as I'm seeing them on Thursday, hopefully, fingers crossed, if the COVID kings allow, then hopefully I will be seeing Kate and Brandon, and I'm really excited to see them because it's been a while. It's been too long. The weird thing is that I've seen more of them this year than I have my own family, which is very strange indeed. So what options do we have when sewing on sewable plastic? And you don't have to do your pocket, your zip pocket. You don't have to do a zip pocket at all, right? But I am just aware that it would keep your instructions in it. And there are different ways in which to do the zip. You can go for the super easy way, which is just to sew it on, like ridiculously easy. And if you want to use a bit of quilting tape just to hold it in place, you can do that. Or you can create like a binding and hold the zip and the plastic in the binding. I can show you that as well, because I'm going to do the binding down the side to then have that to stitch onto your inner fabric. Basically, bear with me, we'll get there. Whichever way you choose, we'll get there. Oh, the printing engineer will be round at 1:30 today. I've never been so relieved to see a text message in my life. Yeah, I don't think they like me very much in their office. I think they see my name and just go, oh, not that woman, not that woman again. But there are certain things you just can't be without. And when we have the number of patterns that we sell, a printer is one of them. So to do the binding, I'm going to cut just, well, again, all of these are all just serving suggestions for you. I'm going to cut a little 2-inch strip. Doesn't have to be that big, it can be smaller. And then I'm going to make it into basically binding. Like we did yesterday, if you wanted to create the cord for your storage caddy. So, fold it in half. And this is going to be exactly the same way if you, depending on how you want to bind. This is one way to make your binding. So everything will go together and then the whole thing is bound. So you can then practice different ways to bind. And I thought what was really lovely is that I know that so many people are doing the block of the month, and maybe it's only like their second quilt. Maybe they did the first block of the month with Jane, and then, you know, certainly the names that I see when we pack up the subscriptions are very similar to the first round of names that we had, and I think, you know that Jane's a clever lady. She's a great teacher, and she now has her workshop Wednesdays, and I'm super excited for tomorrow's workshop Wednesday. So since we last saw you, obviously, Lewis and Irene have been here. We've got the angels. We're busy cutting all of those, the angel and the Father Christmas Advent kits. We are cutting for you, but also Ben had yesterday some of the glow in the dark elves, and they are fabulous, and some of the stockings, and they're just lovely. And the only reason that I bought them was because I bought them for Freddie, and he loved them. Like, he really, really loved it. And if you have little ones, and the Lewis and Irene glow in the dark, or even big ones, they're fab. And we also managed to get hold of the letter panels, so that you can then personalise with. I'm not sure if they're glow in the dark as well. I will investigate. So I'm going to cut this down. Everything on this is going to be down to a 15" is what it's going to come down to. So I'm going to cut that, and again, I'm really lazy, but if I don't have the right length to hand in terms of ruler, oh no, look, it's there. Then I just use my cutting mat. That's what it's there for. So I've pressed that in half, and then I'm going to open it up and then press those raw edges into the middle. So again, if you were making yesterday your the cord for your, instead of using cord, if you were going to make your own, then this is how you would do it. It's just one of those techniques. It just works, doesn't it? Whoop. If you've got a bias binder maker, then you can, some people use those. But otherwise, folding into, you can do one side then the other if that's easier. Down that side, flip it, and then go down the other. So do you already have an idea of what blocks you're going to use for your block keeper? They make great gifts as well. If you've got someone who quilts, then, everyone's part way through something. It's a great way to keep them. Okay. So let me show you now what I've done here. So there it was, 2 inches. And again, if you want it bigger, do it 2.5. Folded it in half, like that. Then folded these raw edges into the middle, and then folded it in on itself. So there are no raw edges there. Now, when you come to use your zip, I'll show you this. So you can do it so that if you don't want to have any raw edges of the plastic showing, then you can slide the plastic into there. Whoop, you can slide the plastic into there and stitch it on like that if you wish, or you can just stitch the plastic onto the zip. Easy. But I will edge the plastic in this so that it can then, be a nice covering down one side. let's get this plastic out and show you. There is some left on the website. I will buy more if we run out. I know that lots of people are using it for masks so that you can see people's faces. So especially if anybody is needing to see, if hearing's a bit of an issue, then I know that was why I was asked to get it in initially. And it had been ages since I'd used it, a really long time. I'd kind of forgotten it was even a thing. And then actually I realised, no, I keep my jewellery in something quite similar, in sort of sewable plastic, as that night. And that's the irony, isn't it? That night, my daughter then went and pulled all my jewellery out of it and ripped it to bits. I was like, oh, okay. It was very old. Maybe I need to make one of those now. So this, we will cut the width of said zip, which I've just moved over to there. And again, using my cutting mat if I want to as a guide. Like I said, this is a 12-inch zip, but I'm going to cut it on the 13-inch line. And I'm not going to worry about cutting its depth yet, because the first thing we're going to do, and this might be the hardest demo to see because basically it's see-through, is at some point, and again, this is personal preference, I've put a suggested amount in, but just trim it down. And again, just lining everything up. And if you give it a little wiggle, then the light will catch it and you'll know, yep, that you are, yep, lined up well. There we go. But like I say, like this bit isn't, where am I wiggling? Where's my line? I'm going to line it up on there and up on there. Use your mat to line everything up on. Oh, I know what I haven't done. I haven't straightened up. That's what's going to really help, isn't it? Is if I actually straighten up. That's why nothing's going, why isn't it lying straight? Whoops. It's not lying straight because I have not lined everything up. So let's trim that back for a start and then make that cut. Right, we know where we are now. Ba-ba-da-ba. It just takes a little bit of patience. I would put some wash away quilter's tape. You're not going to see it, it's going to be on the underside, so don't worry about that, but I would just pop some on, just to help you see really, and line everything up. And also because it is a plastic, you know, it does move and shift a little bit, so if you can baste it in place with this, or if you want to use your sew line glue pen or anything like that, is going to help. Let's get that on nice and straight. So I'm going to take that off and then just decide which you want to be the top of your zip, and you are just going to place your zip on it. Okay, so I'm just going to flip that there. And just make sure that when you place it, you're placing it enough away from like the zip's track that you can still open and shut the zip. Okay, you know how we would normally sew and then take the lining and the top fabric and press them away from the zip and then top stitch to hold it away? Yeah, you're not going to be able to do that with this. So just give it a little open and a shut, and make sure that that plastic isn't interfering with the zip. And then it is just a case of running a line of stitching. Just make sure you've got it where you want it to be. Running a line of stitching down if you want to do it this way. If you want to encase it, like I say, in your binding, then you absolutely can. Let's just pop on a zipper foot just because I can get in a little bit closer. Oh, hang on a minute. There we go. Of course I had my walking foot down, didn't I? But really, with this machine, how simple is that? It's like, all right, walking foot off now. Thanks a lot. And you don't have to have fancy Teflon feet or anything like that. It's not that it's sticky. It just slips about a little bit. Slidey rather than sticky. So then that's that one on. And then do exactly the same with the bottom half. This is where, yeah, quilter's tape. My friend Gemma said to me the other day, she said, why do you always do this? She said, I wake up not knowing in the morning that what I'm really going to need by the end of the day is something like quilter's tape that I didn't even know existed. And there it is. Well, yeah, sorry, but it really helps. So let's then put that onto here. And again, you can check that it's not going to interfere with your zip. That's a beautiful thing about basting. And that's all we're doing, by the way, with this quilter's tape, is just basting, is just making sure that the zip isn't going to move. And the quilter's tape, whilst not essential, just means that life is just more achievable. Again, I'm happy that works. And then all I'm going to do, roll that up there, and sew my line of stitching down. Okay, now I'm going to cut it to the same length that I want everything to be. So I will even that up. And take that down to here. And check twice, cut once. And then that binding that I made, where is it? Where is it? Is going to go on here. And that is just going to encase this end along here. Now again, if you want to put your quilter's tape in there and just secure it in there, then you can. If you want to, where did I put them? Oh, here we go, I've got. If you want to just pop your quilter's clips on there, also to hold everything in place, then do. But just make sure that everything's where you need it to be. And this is just to show that you can use clips. If you don't want to use tape, you can equally have used tape to hold everything in place there. And then you can keep your zipper foot on if you want, or not if you don't want. And I'm just going to pop a line of stitching down just to hold that in place. And you can do it wherever you wherever you see fit. Just line up your foot and off you go. This is all going to sit within your binding. So the edges will all sit within your binding. So again, don't worry about that. And all I'm doing with my fingers as I sew is just making sure that that plastic is sitting into the fold and isn't moving out. But if you've used your quilters wash-away tape, then you won't need to do that. That's just if you went with just the clips. Just trying to show as many different ways as we can, because not everyone's got everything and there's always a way to do it. I just wouldn't use pins, that's all. So that is one side of your pocket, because that will then I'll put that on there. So that will then sit in there and be stitched onto this lining fabric here, and then this end here of your plastic just gets bound in. So it's bound in on 3 sides, but you've got a totally clear pocket there. And if you wanted to, then you don't have to do that top bit in plastic. You can do that in a fabric if you want to do that. Again, these are just serving suggestions, all just serving suggestions for you. But when it comes to it, decide how many of these you want. Like I say, a cot size bundle will be enough. Absolutely. Let me find that middle point. You can measure this all super accurately. But find the middle. And again, my middle piece is here, and that could be done in a strip that you had left, a 2.5-inch strip that you have left, or anything. And then all I do is on that center bit there, find your center, and then just 2 lines of stitching down there, which will then give you the spine, which is what that bit is there. Okay, so I've left, there's your seam allowance so that all of this sashing is exactly the same, and then you've just got an inch strip for your spine. So pop your stitches an inch apart in the middle, and then when you shut it, and that's my front there, then everything will line up. And again, when you do your binding, if you want to add in some ribbon or something to tie it shut, then you can. But that is basically it. And like I say, there's a chart in there so that whatever size block you decide, because look, that with the next round on, and then one side purple and then the other side with the feathers would look gorgeous. My voice is going, so I don't think we're going to do too much more today. Oh, someone's tablets froze. Oh, morning, Kerry. Lovely to have you. Oh, Susan said all of the Lewis and Irene charm packs are beautiful. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Elizabeth says, look at you doing intricate designs. You're fearless now. I've enjoyed watching your presentation since Create Thingy Bob. Well done, that woman. Oh, Elizabeth, I cringe at my very first shows. If I ever have to watch any of my very first shows on Create and Craft, oh my goodness. Oh, I'd never done live TV, ever. I still don't know quite how I got that job, but I'd never done live TV. And all of a sudden, I'm sat in a studio going, I don't know if I can talk for an hour, even with a guest, with producers and directors in my ear and all sorts going on. Just, not a clue, not a clue. With a boss that would say, so you need to be more yourself, more yourself, more yourself. Oh, no, not that self. But like, what self? What? It was so confusing, the whole thing. But it gets you where you need to be, right? Hi, Susie. Oh, another soggy dog walk. Oh, yeah, but your boy is so worth it. And Diane says the template's great. It's beautiful, right? Really gorgeous. Do I have a jelly roll in the harbour side? Diane, I will have a look for you. I was going to save these jelly rolls. I was going to save them, but would you rather I loaded them, and I'll throw in another ½ metre of fabric with them if you want. Would you rather that I loaded them now, as we're on a kind of a Lewis and Irene thing, and I'll tell Jane to stand down from the jelly roll quilt that she was going to do? Let me know. If you want, then I can go and I can find matching. If you're after it now, if we're on a roll, no pun intended, then I can go and do that, and I can ask Emma very nicely, if I take the photos, if she can load them up, and we'll get them up by lunchtime. Assuming you have a late lunch. Would you like that? Just let me know. Just pop on here. Just very quickly say on here. Elizabeth, I think it's safe to say you've made it and some. Well, I've made a lot of things, that's for sure, including, yeah, a hash of others. Oh, Ali, yeah, the creative grid is gorgeous, isn't it? Isn't it just beautiful? And I mean, just imagine that in the core. Well, I mean, you could create all sorts of swirls and beautiful things. And of course, your ½ metre heavens are perfect because you've got the contrast always. Oh, Geraldine's not sure if she's already got this ruler. Oh, you are going to have a little look and see. Oh, she's ironing fabric to do the second sea storm. You do it. Do it. Right. I think that is everything. Oh, Elizabeth forgot that Jane was on every week. Yeah, no, she is. Every Wednesday. Workshop Wednesday. That's Jane's hour. Or 2, depending on how much we chat. Is there a catch-up on making the snoods? The schmoods? Oh, yes. Now, when did I do it? Did I do those last week? Was it last Monday I did those? Certainly the jersey took forever to arrive. It's now in and we're now cutting it. Of course, we're having to cut it really carefully because we're cutting it to, we normally cut everything at ½ metre, and every time anybody picks up any jersey, we're like, remember, 65 centimetres width for the smooths. Yeah. So it will be on YouTube. If you go to YouTube and you put in last Monday's date, then it will come up there. It's also going to be on the website and it will be on Facebook as well. So have a scroll through. They will be there. They're always there. They don't go anywhere. But YouTube, yeah, if you put in Natasha Makes and last Monday's date, it should come up with it. Oh, Teresa says she wished she were right-handed. Looks so much easier. I think it's going to be exactly the same. Yeah, you'll be fine. Oh, there you go. Claire put tabs on her zips yesterday. So much easier doing it that way. Yeah. Laurie's ordered 4 reels of quilter's tape. You know, you go for it, Laurie. You do it. Oh, and does the built-in walking element on the Dukey do away with the boxy walking foot for quilting, or would you say it's a halfway house type thing? So on this one, let me show you. You've got 2 things with the Dukeys, and that is that they have a box feed. So what that means is the way that the dog's teeth at the bottom, that they come up and they hold the fabric. So they're always, the feed dogs rather, they'll come up and they all feed. So they'll always be in contact with your fabric. Others aren't. But with this, let me just find, sorry, you probably got a horrible close-up there of my face. If you pull it down and you lock it on under there, then that is your walking foot. So it's not a halfway thingamabob at all. That is your walking foot. Now, how easy is that? No unscrewing, no anything else. I mean, this machine is the dream. I mean, it is. It's the dream, of course it is. But yeah, on the NX7, this is what it's got. And then if I don't want the walking foot on anymore, I just lift it out of the way. I was the laziest person for walking feet, and I always used to struggle. But this morning I started struggling. I'm like, oh, no, I'm on the Kiri. It's all right. What I have to do is that, and I'm walking away. It's all good. It's all good. So yeah, in answer to your question, it's not halfway house, it's the full shebang. It doesn't come with another walking foot. That is it. That is it. There we go. All right, you lovely, lovely people. I will see you with Jane here tomorrow. And oh my goodness, from what started as a Christmas table runner in Liberty, very tasteful, Liberty fabric, the show's got a bit bigger to the advent calendars. We'll bring you Christmas panels. We'll bring you stocking panels. We'll bring you all sorts of goodies tomorrow because that's just how it went. Jane's a bad influence and I got overexcited. So yeah. Oh, did we have an answer as to whether or not you wanted jelly rolls now? Did anybody say? Anyone? Yes, please. Load them, please. Right. All right. Oh, we're a 50-50 split. I tell you what, okay. I'll have a look at how many there are. If I think there's a full show's worth, then we'll keep them. If there's not, we'll load them. But I will tell you one thing that Jane has done, and we will show you tomorrow, and that is, out of a layer cake, the most beautiful quilt. Okay. I'm just going to leave that there. So, all sorts. The thing is with the jelly rolls that we've got, they're all different ones. So I can always buy jelly rolls in that will be all the same, which might be easier. So I'll go and see what we've got. Keep an eye on Facebook. I'll let you know if we find them and load them. All right. Take care, you wonderful people. I will see you bright and early tomorrow, 10 o'clock. It's bright, it's early enough. See you then. Take care. Bye-bye.